Can you touch on the challenge of facing this lineup as compared to the Yankees and Astros and the different challenges they present for you?
They're the heart of their order are primarily lefties. So it just presents a different look. And obviously locations are going to be a little different. Pitch mix is going to be a little different. But as far as just pro hitters go, experience, they're all pretty similar. But I mean, like I said, it's just going to be a little bit of a different look just based on the handedness of the guys over there.
Juan Toribio.
Hey Chuck, probably a pretty obvious question here, but how special is it to be back here at this stage of your career, and also facing the team that you faced the last time you were in the World Series?
Yeah, well, I mean, anytime that you're in the playoffs, it's special. But I think the special thing about it is being with this group. I don't think any of the guys on that team have been to the World Series. And just this year in general, the sacrifices that everybody's had to make, the entirety of the organization. So I would say, being here is obviously an honor. It's exciting. It's special. But it's also, it's actually made more special by the people that you experience it with. And I think that's why, this one will be special for me. And, and two, also, like, the families haven't been here, staff families haven't been here. A lot of our families have. My own family has not been here, and they're going to have a chance to come out and be in the stadium. So, like I said, playoff baseball is special to be a part of, but it's made special by who you can share it with. So, being here with this group, like I said, all the staff families can come, other families can come. We have I looked up and there were, Ranger fans here. There were people with Padres jerseys on, and, just people back in the stadium getting to experience baseball in person.
You're the only guy with experience in the World Series on this roster. Has anybody come up to you and asked for some advice? Or I know you don't like to seek it, but has anyone kind of come out and asked you?
No, and I don't think that they should. I think it has more to. I think the recognition that the game is still the game, and the environment is going to impact you mentally if you let it, positively or negatively. So I think that's the biggest thing. I don't think, like the guys over in the other clubhouse, it's the fact that they've been here several times in the past 4 years. The fact that their core group has remained intact. The leaders on their team have been there now for a few years. They look comfortable out there. They look like a team that has been here before, and that makes them dangerous. And that's where we're trying to get to. That's where the young guys, especially on this team, should be trying to get to. Not only being here this year, but trying to stay relevant in the game as an organization and come back to the playoffs every year with a chance to win it. Yeah, I don't think that, like, talking to me about it it's like, especially because I don't know, the playoffs have been weird this year. So to get here with fans, it's different. Like, I think they have an advantage because they've been playing here with fans. They were in a tight series, obviously, with the Braves in this environment. They've been staying in the same hotel the whole time. Those are the kinds of things for me that matter, not talking to some guy that's been to one World Series.
Mark Topkin.
Mark made it.
Hey, Charlie. Sorry, I missed your opening.
No, you're okay.
Two things. One is, asked you the other day about the difference between regular season Charlie and postseason Charlie, and you had a couple interesting points. But you do see why that comes up? I mean, is there another level? Is there another notch you turn or click or something? And not to say you don't try in the regular season by any means, but is there something different about you in the postseason?
Probably I'm more anxious. And when I get to the field, and I probably mentioned this before, like I get in my routine and I just feel, like I feel normally, maybe a little more energy. There's more energy in the clubhouse. But to say that we're the same people in different environments across baseball would be a false thing to say. It's not true, and it's not possible to be the same person that you are in all environments, and that's very human because we adjust to our environment, we adjust to what's going on around us. That's just inherent. So I would say, hey, I mean, I don't know, look at my stuff, look at my locations, look at my pitch mixes, and then figure out if that's actually different than how I pitch in season. I mean, maybe I have extra adrenaline and that allows me to maintain my stuff throughout, an 80 to 100 pitch count, as opposed to in the regular season. Maybe it's different. I really don't know. Maybe my stuff is playing up because there's more energy. I don't know. So I would just say, look at the stuff that's coming out of my hand, and if you have a large enough sample size, you can look at the results. And I would assume by now you have a large enough sample size to say that, I have the ability to perform well in the playoffs. And a lot of that for me is, and I mentioned this too, being given the ball in big situations. And I liken it, and I've used this analogy before describing it. It's like a test. When you go into, you study for a test, and you go into the classroom to take the test, and nobody knows, even yourself, how you're going to perform in that test. Your teacher doesn't know, your classmates don't know, you don't know how you're going to perform in that test. And it's not until you take the test that everybody's figured it out. But you can go into that room and actually be ready for the test and be in the best position possible to perform in the test. And I think that's what sports and performance in general is all about. It's about exposing your strengths and weaknesses and your ability, your preparedness. So I would say that now over the course of a few years, I've been able to demonstrate that that I can go out there and do it.
And just to use your analogy, do you feel like you wake up in that morning and you feel like this is my time to ace that test? This is the postseason. This is when I have the responsibility of my team. They're counting upon me.
I would say that I do not wake up in the morning and say it's my time to shine. I would say that I wake up in the morning and I question if I've done what I was supposed to do to get ready for what I've been asked to do. And I would say that the motivation for me, obviously, you want to do well for yourself because you're constantly judging yourself. You're gonna, these are moments that you're gonna look back and you're gonna remember for the rest of your life. 1, 2, you care about your teammates. You care about the staff that has spent tons of time trying to improve your game. Those around you, the fans, non-uniform staff, especially in this environment this year, all the sacrifices that have been made by people that aren't even directly affiliated with the game, like security agents at hotels, the folks that work at the hotels here in quarantine, the clubhouse staff that's here in Texas, the guy on the visiting side that haven't been able to see their families for a month because they've been holed up in a hotel for a month and haven't even been able to leave their rooms. So it's things like that you start to realize if you look around you and you see what's going on around you, it makes those moments all the more special. So I would say I wake up with a humble recognition that what I'm about to do is an opportunity that not many people get to experience. and I try to prepare for it just like that.
All right, we have time for just a couple more. We'll go to S.A. Miller.
Hey, Charlie, you touched on this a little bit. You said the playoffs are weird, and you just talked about even like the quarantine. Compared to the World Series in 2017, some of the differences are obvious to the public, the fans. You know, Minute Maid Park was filled, Dodger Stadium was filled. Now, at least there are some fans here, but where the World Series is concerned, does this feel like the World Series? And then secondly, aside from some of the obvious differences, what are some things that are really striking to you from living it day to day, even though we're only one game in?
The thing that's been striking to me, and maybe not striking, but obvious to me, is is how much the guys in the opposing dugout care about what's going on the field. You know, it'd be one thing if everybody just showed up in an empty stadium and just went through the motions and just said, well, you know, there's no fans here. It's a 60-game season. It doesn't really matter. But fortunately, they gave the playoffs some teeth. They expanded it, and fortunately, we're in a league of pros that care. So we looked across the dugout at the Blue Jays, at the Yankees, at the Astros, and all those guys really cared and wanted to win. And that's why we come into this series with so much emotion, because the guys that we had to beat to get here were giving it everything they had. And it's been set up as a moment that still matters. You know, people are watching on TV. People come to the stadium here. So all of those things have built it up in a different way than a less traditional way, but a very unique and important way for us. So playing a playoff game with 0 fans in it has got to be one of the weirdest, most bizarre things I've ever experienced in baseball. But at the same time, one of the most memorable things I've ever experienced in baseball. I'll appreciate everyone that made this possible for as long as I live. So that's for me personally. I can't speak for how the fans perceive it, and I can't speak for how guys league wide are going to perceive it. But the guys that are here, and I can see it in those guys across the way in the Dodger dugout, feel the exact same way. So it's important to us.
And it feels like a World Series, no doubt.
It does. And this stadium, even though it's not filled to capacity, there's something about this place. It's very robust. It's big. It feels big. They have the big screen on the right above the field. It feels like it's like hanging on top of you, and it's got all the World Series logo. Everything's in gold. You know, all the banners you'd expect to see. But underneath in the service tunnel and in the clubhouse, it is weird, you know, to not see, you know, it's weird to not be in the press room. You know, that's weird. It's weird it's weird to go to the stadium and not see the parking lots just filled with people, and you know, local TV crews just hanging out. You name it. It's just it's weird. It's sad, but it's still very exciting.
Thank you.
Sincere apologies to everyone who still has questions, but that's all we have time for Charlie. We'll have Joey Wendell in here momentarily. Thank you.